Today, I'm going to explain how you can know that you have the Holy Spirit inside of you. People think that speaking in tongues is the reason that you have the Holy Spirit. People think that if you prophesy, those are all gifts of the Holy Spirit. But this one is not talked about a lot, and that is integrity. What do I mean by integrity? I mean, what are we doing when no one else is looking? That's the integrity I'm talking about. And so today I'm going to give you two examples from the Bible and one example from my life. I'm going to start off with Joseph. Joseph, he was the prophet that was sold by his brothers, went to the pit, went to Potiphar's house, then the prison, and then in second in command in Egypt. If you want to read about Joseph, go to Genesis. But I am going to talk about when Joseph was in Potiphar's house. When Joseph was in Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife wanted to sleep with Joseph, just to be real. However, Joseph knew that everything was under his control except for his wife. And so she kept on trying to get after Joseph. However, Joseph kept on reminding her, my master gave me control of everything but you. I'm not going to disrespect my master, but most importantly, I am going to respect the Lord and his wishes and his guidance over my life. So when Potiphar wasn't looking, when no one else was looking, he still did not fall under temptation and did not sleep with Potiphar's wife and then was sent to the prison. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to integrity. What are we doing when no one else is looking? The second example that I have is in my own life. I am a banker, and one of the things that we get graded or we get measured on when it comes to numbers is how much we produce in consumer loans. Something that I do because the Holy Spirit guides me in this way is to make sure that I'm doing right by people when it's due. And you'll know exactly what I mean when I finish the explanation of, what happened at work. So, like I said, we get graded or we get measured by how much consumer loans we produce within the quarter. So we're getting towards the end of the quarter. I need to make my numbers. And there was a phone call. I got the phone call. I answered. I'm like, hey, this is Roberto, blah, 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 blah. And the guy on the phone was like, oh, Roberto, I think you helped me out with an application not too long ago about getting a personal loan. I want to go through with it. I have X, Y, and Z. I'm like, all right, let me just look into the previous application so that way we can pull it up and then we can move forward. I look in the previous application and it turns out I was not the person that helped him out. It was one of my teammates. I could have easily been like, oh yeah, it was me. Let's go through with it. However, I have integrity because the Holy Spirit lives inside of me. So what I did was I told the person that actually helped him out, say, hey, this person called. He wants a personal loan. He has this, this, and this. I'm giving this to you. Even though I needed numbers to make sure that I'm being up to the standard that the bank or the credit union that I work for upholds, and that could have easily helped me get to my numbers. I just wanted to make sure that I have integrity and that I'm living by the Holy Spirit. And lastly, the last example, something that people always talk about, but not in this way. Are you familiar about the master who has 3 servants and he gives them each talents and then he tells them that I'm going to be gone for X, Y, and for this long. I expect you to steward over the talents that I give you. Talents, and I believe in that day was actually a weight of resources or a weight of gold or weight of silver or whatever the currency was at the time. And we know that the first person that responded to the master when he came back was, hey, master, you gave me 5, I gave you 5 back, I doubled it. The second person, hey, master, you gave me 2, I doubled it. And then the last person, he didn't do anything with it. And then the master said, get away from me, you evil and wicked person. I'm going to give what you just stored away instead of did nothing with, and I'm going to give it to the person that doubled it with the 5. And we think about it as stewardship. However, if you really look into it, the person that doubled it the 5 and made it into another 5, and the person that doubled it from the 2 made it another 2. They had integrity. The master went out on a trip. The master was out. However, they knew that they had a responsibility to steward over what was given to them. They knew exactly what they needed to do, and they did it without the master looking. So the message behind all of those examples of integrity is to encourage you to lean into the Holy Spirit in those moments when no one else is looking. Are you listening for that voice, that small voice of the Holy Spirit, or are you listening to that small voice of the flesh? This is a sign that you have the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is always going to push you towards what the Word says. The Holy Spirit is going to push you to help others. The Holy Spirit is going to push you to be the light and love that God called us to be. The Holy Spirit is going to push you towards assignment. The Holy Spirit is not going to push you to lie. The Holy Spirit is not going to push you to wrong people. The Holy Spirit is not going to push you to not steward over the things that God has given us. It's important to lean into the Holy Spirit in those moments, because those moments are the moments that God is looking. He's looking at all the moments, but he's looking at those moments that he's giving us those tests. And we need to pass those tests. And the only way that we're going to pass those tests is to have integrity and to lean into the Holy Spirit. When it comes to temptation, as a side note, I believe in the New Testament, it talks about that the Lord will give us a way out. So if you find yourself in those moments where no one's looking, you want to sin, pray and say, God, you said that you will give me a way out. And I'm just asking for that way out. If you feel like weak, remember that in his strength, in our weakness, his strength is made known. So confess that you're weak in those moments and ask God to strengthen you. Let's have integrity when no one else is looking, and continue to push forward towards the assignment that God has for us. Integrity is very important. And we need to, if you're not having integrity now, start making practices and leaning into the Holy Spirit now, because that vision that you see so clearly that you want to see come to pass, that version of you has integrity. That version of you can have blessings from God and be trusted with the blessing that God gives them, because they have integrity. So think about that. If you could think of someone that could really use this message, copy the link, send it to them, say, hey, really been thinking about you, watch this message. If you could think of something that really stood out, comment down below what that was. Maybe someone can relate. However, staying to this part of the video means the world to me. So I just want to say thank you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.